Chapter 12, Part 1, Bonds and Barriers. The workshop's central chamber glowed with ambient light, the ancient preservation enchantments responding to increased activity after centuries of dormancy. Crystalline pillars pulsed with subtle luminescence as Bellatori warriors methodically dismantled delicate equipment, their enhanced strength lacking the finesse required for proper handling of arcane artifacts. Shattered glass crunched beneath heavy boots, precious materials scattered with careless disregard for their historical significance. In the midst of this controlled chaos stood Cormac Aurelius, his perfect form motionless amid frantic activity, gold-flecked eyes tracking the movements of his elite general with predatory assessment. The Bellatori commander knelt before him, head bowed in formal supplication that did little to mask the tension radiating from his enhanced frame.
"Please, General, define escaped,"
Cormac requested, his harmonically resonant voice carrying deceptive gentleness that belied the danger lurking beneath his perfect composure. The elite general's battle trance marks pulsed with agitation beneath his skin. His massive shoulders hunched slightly in unconscious attempt to appear smaller before his sovereign's displeasure.
"My lord, the Maravan woman activated some form of security protocol that opened an evacuation route. Our forces breached the inner chambers too late to intercept her,"
he explained, gaze fixed on the floor rather than risking eye contact.
"And the courier. He was injured by the Guardian, but disappeared during our initial sweep. The tracking team found traces of blood, but lost the trail in the lower chambers."
Cormac circled his kneeling commander with unhurried steps, each movement precise as expertly performed dance. His perfect fingers trailed across a nearby workbench, disturbing ancient dust with deliberate disinterest.
"So both key components of our operation have vanished,"
he summarized, gold flecks swirling in his amber eyes.
"The vessel of the Plague Maker and the heart of the Dream Child. Both gone. Both lost to your oversight."
The general's breathing quickened, fear pheromones detectable even to those without enhanced senses. His battle trance marks darkened as his body prepared for potential violence, instinctive reaction despite decades of conditioned loyalty.
"We continue the search, my lord. They cannot have gone far without mounts or supplies. The desert will—"
"The desert is vast, General,"
Cormac interrupted, his perfect voice retaining its melodious quality despite the implicit threat beneath his words.
"And our quarry surprisingly resourceful."
He paused beside an ornate crystal apparatus, his perfect reflection fragmenting within its faceted surface. After a calculated moment that stretched the general's nerves to breaking point, Cormac's perfect lips curved into a smile entirely devoid of warmth.
"However, their escape proves ultimately inconsequential,"
he stated, watching relief cascade through his commander's enhanced frame.
"The Maravan woman fulfilled her primary function by deactivating the Guardian. Her blood heritage opened doors that have remained sealed for centuries."
He gestured toward the organized destruction surrounding them.
"The workshop's secrets are now ours for the taking. The Plague Maker's legacy lies exposed after generations of concealment."
A commotion at the chamber's entrance drew his attention. A woman in scholarly robes burst into the room, her normally composed features animated with unprecedented excitement. Her copper-red skin marked her Igniti heritage, though her features suggested mixed bloodline rather than pure descent. "My lord," she called, forgetting protocol in her enthusiasm. "We've found it. The archives contain complete documentation of the original Dream Plague formula and its potential antidote." Cormac's perfect features arranged themselves into an expression of pleased anticipation that might have appeared genuine to casual observation. The gold flecks in his eyes swirled faster, betraying emotional response beyond his carefully maintained control.
"Show me,"
he commanded, dismissing the kneeling general with casual flick of his fingers. The scholar led him through a series of connected chambers to a smaller room dominated by ancient library shelves. Unlike the methodical destruction occurring elsewhere, this space had been searched with relative care, artifacts catalogued before removal, rather than simply seized. She directed him to a workbench where several ancient tomes lay open, their pages covered in precise handwriting that remained perfectly legible, despite centuries of abandonment. Beside the manuscripts rested a collection of crystal vials containing substances in various states of suspension, liquids, powders, and materials that existed in states between conventional classifications. The plague maker, Viola, documented everything, the scholar explained, her finger hovering reverently above the ancient text without quite touching its surface. The original formula that severed the worship energy connection, the modified version that reinforced the prison matrix, even theoretical constructs for reversing either effect. Cormac studied the materials with genuine interest, his perfect form leaning closer than strictly necessary to the excited scholar. He noted the flush spreading across her copper-red skin, the slight acceleration in her breathing pattern, the unconscious leaning of her body toward them his own. Manipulation through proximity required no active compulsion, merely awareness of effect his enhanced presence exerted upon those susceptible to such influence.
"Excellent work, Verica,"
he praised, his harmonically resonant voice pitched to maximize impact.
"Your value continues to exceed expectations."
Her flush deepened, pleasure at his recognition evident in her expression. Before she could respond, Cormac straightened and turned toward the chamber entrance where a silhouette had appeared.
"Captain Dahlia."
He acknowledged the Bellatori officer who stood at precise military attention.
"Have you anticipated my needs again?"
The captain's battle trance marks pulsed briefly beneath her bronzed skin, a tiger-eye gaze remaining properly lowered, despite the subtle pleasure his recognition elicited.
"Indeed, my lord,"
she confirmed, her contralto voice carrying both strength and underlying melody that distinguished it from ordinary military address.
"I have brought the wing, just in case. They are on standby."
Cormac's perfect smile widened, genuine satisfaction displacing calculated manipulation. With elegant movement, he crossed to where Verica still stood beside the ancient manuscripts. His perfect fingers brushed the scholar's shoulder, tracing the edge of her formal robe with deliberate intent.
"Excellent,"
he purred, gold flecks swirling faster in his amber eyes.
"I believe both of you deserve a reward."
With casual grace, he slipped the scholarly robe from Verica's shoulders, revealing the copper-red skin beneath that flushed darker at his touch. His other hand extended toward Captain Dahlia, beckoning her closer with command that required no verbal articulation. The captain approached with military precision, transformed into something adjacent to seduction, her tiger-eye gaze finally rising to meet his with controlled hunger.
"Secure these materials."
He instructed a nearby Bellatori, gesturing toward the ancient texts without shifting his attention from the women now flanking him.
"We continue extraction proceedings in 3 hours. Until then, I shall be occupied."
He guided both women toward an adjoining chamber. The scholar flushed with anticipation, while the captain maintained military composure despite the desire evident in her tiger-eye gaze. As the door sealed behind them, Cormac allowed himself momentary satisfaction in multiple victories simultaneously achieved. Acquisition of the Plague Maker's secrets, advancement of personal pleasures, and continued progress toward the first sorceress's liberation. The fact that Thalia Maravan and her Dreamwalker protector had temporarily escaped merely added an element of challenge to proceedings already unfolding precisely according to design. After all, prophecy guaranteed their involvement in the final ritual, whether willingly or otherwise. Together they break, or together they seal. Either outcome served his purpose, so long as the ancient prison matrix became accessible once more. The magical grotto's ambient light had dimmed since dawn, its bioluminescent plants responding to increased daylight, by focusing energy inward rather than outward. The hidden sanctuary remained a comfortable oasis amid the desert's building heat, the water pool maintaining perfect clarity despite multiple uses for drinking and washing. Thalia sat cross-legged on the moss-covered stone, her pack open beside her as she examined the journals rescued from her ancestors' workshop. The ancient pages remained supple despite centuries. Her violet-blue eyes tracked complex formulae and theoretical annotations with growing understanding, concepts previously incomprehensible becoming increasingly clear through some combination of blood memory and inherent intelligence. Across the grotto, Elian moved with careful precision, arranging small metal discs in geometric pattern on the exposed stone beyond the canopy's edge. The silver streak in his hair caught occasional sunlight filtering through the canyon walls, flashing with momentary brilliance before returning to ordinary luster.
"We need to rendezvous with the others at the fallback meeting point,"
he stated, midnight blue eyes tracking the position of the sun with practiced assessment.
"But we'll need some help first."
Thalia glanced up from the ancient texts, one finger keeping her place on a particularly complex diagram detailing energy flow between reality and dreamscape.
"How can we contact anyone from this hidden location?"
she asked.
"And who precisely qualifies as help in the middle of the endless desert?"
The question held no challenge, merely practical inquiry from someone whose life had been spent within Walking City rather than navigating open desert. Elian's expression softened, the hint of a smile touching his usually guarded features.
"The nomad tribes maintain territories throughout regions considered uninhabitable by city dwellers,"
he explained, arranging the final metal disc with precise care.
"They've developed systems for communication across vast distances using reflected light and heat signatures."
He reached into his pack and produced a small crystal rod that caught sunlight with unusual intensity. With practiced movements, he positioned the crystal above the arranged metal discs, angling it to direct concentrated light onto the central disc. The metal began to glow with unexpected brightness, heat building rapidly until the disc itself started to smoke.
"Desert nomads monitor these canyons,"
he continued, adjusting the crystal's angle to maintain focus.
"Their scouts will notice the heat signature and smoke pattern. This arrangement is recognized as a non-hostile contact request."
The metal discs now glowed with increasing intensity, smoke rising in thin column that twisted in a distinctive pattern before dispersing into desert air.
"Your knowledge extends far beyond ordinary courier training,"
she observed, closing the journal with careful reverence. Before she could inquire further, movement at the canyon entrance caught her attention. 3 figures appeared, silhouetted against desert brightness, their forms wrapped in layers of fabric that concealed specific features while protecting against sun and sand. They approached with measured steps, neither rushing nor hesitating, their movements carrying deliberate assessment in each carefully placed foot. Elian rose to meet them, his posture shifting subtly from relaxed to formal without becoming threatening. He extended both hands, palms up in a gesture that apparently carried specific significance with the nomadic peoples.
"Seekers of paths hidden, I greet you as friend beneath shared sky,"
he stated, the formal words carrying a cadence unlike his normal speech patterns. The central figure unwrapped layers of fabric from their face, revealing weather-lined features that suggested difficult life lived largely outdoors. Despite apparent age, the individual stood perfectly straight, no hint of weakness or infirmity in their wiry frame.
Nightwalker's son returns to the hidden ways,
the elder responded, using a designation that clearly held meaning beyond literal interpretation.
The smoke sign speaks of need, while your presence speaks of greater purpose.
The formality dissolved into something warmer as the elder stepped forward, clasping Elian's forearms in gesture that conveyed genuine affection rather than mere protocol.
It has been many seasons since your passing through our territories, Silverstreak,
they continued.
The young ones have asked after your stories.
Elian's normally guarded expression opened into genuine smile that transformed his features, creating a glimpse of the person who might have existed had life granted different circumstances. Something twisted unexpectedly in Thalia's chest at witnessing this unguarded version of him, this individual who had connections and relationships beyond his protective role in her journey.
The need is real but not dire.
He explained, gesturing toward where Thalia remained seated beside her pack.
We require mounts and basic provisions to reach the Eastern Territories. I can offer water purification crystals from Aquilon in exchange.
The elder's gaze shifted to Thalia, neither hostile nor particularly welcoming, merely calculating in a way that reminded her of diplomatic evaluations undertaken to determine potential advantage or threat.
Violet eyes from Water City.
They stated, neither question nor greeting but simple observation.
Your father's waters run clean in worthy channels, despite politics that would redirect their flow.
The unexpected reference to her father, and implied knowledge of Aquilon's internal politics, caught Thalia off guard. She rose to her feet with diplomatic poise reasserting itself through surprise, hands arranged in a formal greeting pattern, used with neutral but potentially valuable contacts.
The Fathom Arc values those who navigate their own paths with wisdom,
she replied, choosing neutrality. The elder's weathered face creased with something adjacent to amusement.
The daughter speaks with water's careful flow,
they observed, turning back to Elian.
2 sun cycles will bring our caravan through these canyons. You and Violet Eyes are welcome at our fires until arrangements can be completed.
The formality of negotiations complete, the atmosphere shifted toward something more relaxed. The elder's companions unwrapped their own facial coverings, revealing a younger man and a woman whose features suggested a familial connection to the elder, despite significant age difference. The nomads established a temporary camp at the grotto's outer edges, clearly familiar with the location, though respectful of its magical properties. They moved with practiced efficiency that spoke of lives spent in continuous travel, each action precise without wasted energy or materials. As evening approached, the younger woman, introduced as Sendra, approached where Thalia sat examining her ancestors' journals. Unlike the elder's careful neutrality, Sendra's expression carried open curiosity regarding the stranger in their midst.
You travel with Silver Streak,
she stated, settling beside Thalia with a casual grace that somehow avoided invading her personal space while establishing a connection.
Many would consider such fortune worth significant sacrifice.
The statement carried implications beyond simple observation, a subtle emphasis suggesting specific interest in their relationship.
We travel together due to circumstances rather than choice,
she replied, diplomatic neutrality instinctive, despite a growing uncertainty about its accuracy. Sendra's laugh carried genuine amusement rather than mockery.
The stars arrange circumstances according to their own designs,
she countered, dark eyes glancing toward where Elian conversed with the elder and younger man.
Silver Streak has moved through our territories for many seasons, yet never brought a companion before.
She leaned slightly closer, her voice dropping to a register that suggested shared confidence between women.
Many have offered welcome that extended beyond mere hospitality,
she continued, gesturing vaguely toward her own form in a way that left no ambiguity regarding her meaning.
Yet he has remained untethered to any clan or individual, until now it seems.
Heat rose unexpectedly to Thalia's cheeks.
Our connection is complicated,
she replied, honesty emerging.
The valuable connections always are.
Sendra agreed with easy wisdom that belied her apparent youth.
He is known among all desert tribes, respected for his knowledge, admired for his skills, welcomed at any fire he approaches.
She gestured towards the surrounding canyon, her expression shifting toward something more serious.
These territories grow increasingly dangerous as ancient powers stir beneath the sands,
she continued, voice lowering further.
Yet he navigates hidden paths with confidence, with more understanding than mere courier should have.
Across the camp, Elian's laughter rang out. Sound so rare that Thalia found herself startled by its unexpected warmth. The nomad man had apparently said something amusing, drawing a reaction that revealed yet another facet of the increasingly complex individual she had initially categorized as merely her assigned protector and guide. Sendra followed Thalia's gaze, understanding passing across her features without requiring verbal acknowledgement.
His connections extend throughout the desert,
She observed quietly.
Many would mourn his passing should the sands claim him before his natural time.
The statement struck with unexpected force, crystallizing thoughts Thalia had been avoiding since witnessing the vision of Elian sacrificing himself to reinforce the prison matrix. Her own existence, by contrast, centered primarily around diplomatic function and political position. Beyond her father's affection, itself often displayed through professional assessment rather than emotional demonstration, her connections remained largely formal rather than deeply personal.
The logical choice becomes increasingly clear.
She thought. Violet blue eyes tracking Elian's animated conversation across the camp. His sacrifice would create a vastly greater void than my own. The recognition settled like a cold stone in her stomachs. The following morning brought the nomads' promised assistance. From the eastern canyon entrance appeared an unusual procession. 6 massive avian creatures, guided by nomads riding confidently upon specialized saddles. The birds stood nearly twice human height, their powerful legs ending in 3-toed feet, with retractable claws capable of rending flesh or gripping desert terrain with equal facility. Instead of wings, vestigial forearms extended from shoulders, digits evolved into manipulatory appendages that allowed surprising dexterity despite their reduced size. Midnight blue feathers covered their bodies, except for heads and necks, which displayed dramatic crimson plumage that flared when the creatures grew excited or agitated. Sharp beaks curved at precise angle, with eyes positioned for excellent peripheral vision, while maintaining forward focus necessary for running at speed.
Night runners.
He explained, noticing Thalia's fascinated assessment.
Slower than striders or sand lions over short distances, but capable of maintaining steady pace for days without rest. The nomads breed them specifically for desert navigation.
The creatures moved with surprising grace despite their size, necks swiveling constantly. Unlike the sand lion's predatory assessment or the strider's placid acceptance, these beasts radiated intelligent curiosity regarding their surroundings. As the nomads prepared their mounts and supplies for the journey ahead, Thalia found herself watching Elian's interactions with growing awareness of the contrast between them. He moved among the desert people with comfortable familiarity. They treated him not as outsider granted temporary acceptance, but as individual with established place within their community, despite his nomadic lifestyle. The elder approached where she stood beside her packed belongings.
The currents beneath still waters often run contrary to surface appearance.
They observed cryptically.
The strongest vessels navigate opposing flows without capsizing.
Before Thalia could respond, the elder extended a weather-worn hand containing a small object wrapped in a protective cloth.
The desert gives what is needed rather than what is requested,
They stated, pressing the package into her palm with surprising gentleness.
Look beneath appearance to find true substance.
With that enigmatic statement, the elder moved away to supervise the final preparations, leaving Thalia holding whatever gift had been bestowed. She carefully unwrapped the cloth to find a small crystal pendant suspended on a woven cord. The crystal itself appeared unremarkable at first glance, cloudy interior with minimal faceting. Yet as sunlight struck its surface, unexpected depth revealed itself within the seemingly ordinary stone. Patterns shifted beneath its cloudy exterior. Images or symbols vanished when viewed directly, yet reappeared when attention shifted elsewhere. The effect created a disorienting sensation of simultaneously seeing and not seeing whatever the crystal contained. Elian appeared beside her, the silver streak in his hair catching the morning light as he looked over her shoulder at the elder's gift.
Dream crystal.
He identified, recognition evident in his voice.
Extremely rare natural formation, found only in certain desert locations. The nomads believe they form where boundaries between the physical world and dreamscape grow particularly thin.
When Thalia glanced up, his midnight blue eyes carried an unusual intensity that sent unintended warmth cascading through her.
The gift carries considerable meaning,
He continued, voice dropping to a register that created the impression of privacy despite their exposed position.
Dream crystals are typically passed through family lineages rather than given to outsiders.
The information added complexity to already complicated emotional landscape developing between them. If the nomads considered her significant enough to warrant such precious gift, what other assessments had they formed regarding her role in Elian's existence? She carefully rewrapped the crystal and placed it in an inner pocket close against her body. The night runners were ready within the hour, specialized saddles adjusted to accommodate riders unaccustomed to their particular motion patterns. Elian assisted Thalia onto her mount, hands lingering perhaps a moment longer than strictly necessary at her waist. The contact sent that now familiar current through her. As they prepared to depart, Sendra approached on her own night runner, dark eyes watching Thalia with an expression that contained both assessment and something adjacent to approval.
The Eastern Territories grow more dangerous with each passing season,
She observed, adjusting her mount's harness with practiced movements.
Ancient powers stir beneath the sands, drawing those who would release them despite consequences.
Her gaze flickered toward Elian momentarily before returning to Thalia with increased intensity.
Silverstreak has walked between worlds since birth,
She continued, voice pitched for Thalia's ears alone.
yet never found belonging in either until recently.
Before Thalia could respond, Sendra guided her night runner away with subtle pressure of her knees, leaving the statement hanging in desert air between them. The journey began with steady pace along hidden canyons that eventually opened into a wider desert expanse. The night runners maintained consistent rhythm that covered impressive distance without apparent strain, their powerful legs designed for efficiency rather than bursts of speed. As they traveled, Thalia found her thoughts returning repeatedly to the contrasts illuminated by their brief interaction with the nomad tribe. Elian possessed connections and community despite his solitary profession, individuals who valued him for inherent qualities rather than mere functional utility. The dream crystal pressed against her through clothing layers, its presence a constant reminder of the connections she had only recently discovered, yet could never fully develop, given the prophecy's inexorable approach. Together they break, or together they seal. The visions had shown individual sacrifice could accomplish the latter outcome without requiring both participants' permanent transformation. Elian rode slightly ahead, the silver streak in his hair occasionally catching sunlight with momentary brilliance that drew her gaze. He belonged to the desert in ways she could never match, his mixed heritage creating an individual uniquely capable of navigating boundaries between established domains. She belonged to Aquilon, to diplomatic tradition, to a political position that would eventually be filled by another regardless of her personal fate. The calculation remained coldly logical. The night runners continued their steady progress across the endless sand, carrying riders toward a rendezvous point where further decisions awaited. The dream crystal pulsed once against her skin, subtle warmth that might have been imagination rather than actual sensation. The elder's cryptic statement echoed through memory. Look beneath appearance to find true substance. Yet as the desert heat pressed against her skin and Night Runner's rhythm continued beneath her, something adjacent to despair settled beneath her breastbone. Chapter 12, Part 2, The Prison Beneath the Sands. The Night Runners maintained their steady rhythm across the endless desert, powerful legs carrying riders with surprising grace despite their imposing size. Afternoon sun beat down upon the small caravan, heat shimmering above sand in deceptive waves that mimicked water where none existed. Thalia adjusted her position in the specialized saddle, muscles aching from hours of unaccustomed movement. She retrieved one of Viola's journals from her pack, the ancient leather cover warm against her fingertips. The night runner's steady gait made reading difficult, but not impossible. She turned pages with careful reverence, violet blue eyes scanning complex diagrams and precise notations her ancestor had documented centuries before. A particular passage caught her attention, an intricate map inscribed with coordinates and landmarks long since altered by the ever-shifting desert. Though details had changed, the underlying structure remained recognizable to someone trained in cartographic evolution. Thalia traced the faded lines with her fingertip, excitement building as she realized what she was seeing.
Elian,
She called, voice carrying across the short distance separating their mounts.
I think I found it.
He guided his night runner closer, the silver streak in his hair catching sunlight as he leaned to examine the journal she held open. Their shoulders brushed, a brief contact that sent unexpected warmth cascading through her, despite the desert's natural heat.
The prison's location?
His midnight blue eyes scanned the ancient page with focused intensity.
Here.
She indicated an intricate geometric pattern nestled between mountain ranges that still existed despite centuries of erosion.
The 9 pillars. Mark stands where the mountains create natural convergence and the power flows beneath the desert. The prison exists partially in physical reality and partially in dream state, like your father's people.
His expression shifted. Surprise followed by something deeper, more contemplative. The silver streak in his hair seemed to briefly brighten, though the change might have been merely sunlight catching it at different angle.
That area lies 3 days' journey southeast of our rendezvous point.
He studied the horizon as though calculating distances visible only to his experienced eye.
If the others made it to the fallback position, we could reach the prison within 5 days.
The journal's pages rustled in the desert breeze as Thalia examined another section of her ancestors' writings. Ancient ink remained remarkably vibrant despite centuries, the formula's complex components detailed with scientific precision, alongside more mystical notations about energy flows between realities.
My ancestor wasn't just recording the Dream Plague's formula.
She observed, excitement coloring her usually measured tone.
She was documenting methods for manipulating the boundaries between worlds. The prison functions on those principles. Dream state and physical reality interwoven through specific resonance points.
Elian nodded, understanding reflecting in his midnight blue eyes. He adjusted his night runner's direction slightly, guiding them toward a distant rock formation that seemed to shimmer in the afternoon heat.
If the location coordinates remain accurate, we'll reach the rendezvous point by nightfall.
He gestured toward the eastern horizon, where mountains rose like jagged teeth against the sky.
Kirshen and the others should be waiting for us there, assuming they escaped Perotis forces.
The reminder of those left behind sent uncomfortable weight settling in Thalia's chest. She carefully returned the journal to her pack, securing it against the night runner's movement.
Do you think they made it?
She couldn't quite keep worry from threading through her voice. Something adjacent to a smile touched his usually guarded features. Confidence rather than amusement.
Kirshen has survived situations that would kill most enhanced warriors, let alone ordinary humans. Tavor's analytical capabilities make him nearly impossible to ambush. And Lyrian...
He shook his head slightly, respect evident in the gesture.
Water always finds its path forward, as she would say.
The night runners continued their steady progress as afternoon stretched toward evening, massive legs covering impressive distance without apparent fatigue. The rock formation Elian had indicated grew steadily larger. What had appeared random from a distance resolved into deliberate arrangement. Massive stones placed in circular pattern, with precise gaps allowing access to the sheltered interior space. As they approached, movement flickered within the stone circle. Elian's hand moved to the silver knife at his belt, midnight blue eyes narrowing with instant vigilance. The night runner beneath him responded to the subtle pressure of his knees, slowing their approach while maintaining an alertness reflected in the bird's crimson neck plumage. A massive figure emerged from between standing stones, battle trance marks faintly visible beneath weathered skin. Kirshen's booming laugh shattered the tension, echoing against ancient rock like physical force.
Sand and stars, the courier lives.
He strode forward with the confident gait of someone who feared nothing the desert might contain.
And brings our wayward diplomat safely back as well.
Relief cascaded through Thalia with unexpected intensity. Behind Kirshen appeared Tavor, his mechanical eyes whirring as they adjusted to the fading daylight. Then Elian emerged, her water tattoos glowing with a gentle blue luminescence against the gathering dusk. The reunion moved quickly from greetings to practicalities. Within the stone circle's protection, they established camp for the night. The night runners secured where they could rest and feed on specialized grains provided by the nomads. As darkness claimed the desert, stars emerged with brilliant clarity above them, constellations tracking ancient patterns unchanged by human concerns beneath. Seated around a small fire carefully managed to minimize visible light from distance, they shared their respective journeys since separation. Kirshen recounted a daring escape from Pirota's forces that seemed increasingly embellished with each telling, his battle trance marks occasionally flaring with remembered combat excitement.
The elite warrior had me cornered. 7 feet of enhanced muscle with battle marks I'd never seen before.
His massive hands illustrated the imposing size of his supposed opponent.
So I grabbed a fallen torch and...
Probability of encounters as described approaches statistical impossibility,
Tavor interrupted, mechanical eyes clicking as they cycled through different perception modes.
Factual analysis suggests significant narrative enhancement.
Kirshen's booming laugh echoed against the ancient stones surrounding them.
Always ruins a good story with his numbers,
he complained without genuine annoyance.
The truth of a tale lives in its telling, not its counting.
Lyrian's melodic voice carried quieter authority that instantly gathered attention despite its gentle tone.
The desert gives what is needed, not what is requested,
she observed, water tattoos pulsing with soft blue light.
We were separated for a purpose, rather than accident.
She turned toward Thalia, her serene expression carrying unexpected intensity.
You found something significant.
It wasn't a question. Thalia placed her pack before them, carefully extracting the journals she had rescued from her ancestors' sanctuary.
The location of the prison,
she confirmed, opening the most detailed volume to the map she had discovered earlier.
and possibly a way to repair it without...
She hesitated, gaze flickering briefly toward Elian before returning to the ancient text.
Without the sacrifice the wellspring visions showed.
The silver streak in Elian's hair caught the firelight as he leaned forward, midnight blue eyes studying the journal with focused intensity. Though his expression remained carefully neutral, something in his posture suggested heightened alertness.
According to these coordinates, the prison lies 3 days' journey southeast of our current position.
His finger traced the route across faded parchment.
Difficult terrain, but navigable with proper guidance.
3 days through territory crawling with Pirota's forces,
he pointed out, battle trance marks darkening slightly beneath his skin.
Not to mention desert predators growing increasingly active with the approaching solstice.
Probability analysis suggests Pirota's forces have established surveillance patterns along all major approaches to the indicated coordinates.
His mechanical eyes clicked softly as calculations ran behind artificial lenses.
Direct approach carries approximately 78% likelihood of interception.
Silence fell around the small fire, each member contemplating the difficult terrain, both physical and strategic, that separated them from their destination. Thalia's diplomatic training provided no template for wilderness navigation through hostile territory, yet the weight of discovery pressed against her with undeniable urgency.
We need to reach the prison before Cormac's forces can implement whatever ritual he's planning.
She gestured towards the journal where complex formulae detailed her ancestors' work.
If he fully understands the Dream Plague's potential reversal, he could create connection pathways within the prison matrix itself.
We go together,
he stated, decision crystallizing in his tone.
But not along expected routes. The nomads showed me hidden passages beneath the dunes, ancient tunnels that connect oases predating the walking cities themselves. They'll be dangerous, but Piratus forces won't know to watch for travelers beneath the sand rather than above it.
Lyrian's water tattoos pulsed with subtle intensity.
The waters beneath are ancient and strange.
She warned, a melodic voice carrying genuine concern.
They remember what surface dwellers have forgotten. Paths that remain open may not welcome those who walk them uninvited.
Dangerous tunnels filled with ancient water versus enhanced warriors with specific orders to capture or kill us.
His massive shoulders rose and fell in expressive shrug.
The choice seems obvious to me.
Dawn found them already traveling. Night runners left behind with the nomad tribe that had arrived during final night watches. The decision had been practical rather than preferential. The massive birds couldn't navigate the narrow tunnels that now offered their best chance for undetected passage toward the prison's coordinates. The entrance to the ancient pathway had been concealed beneath a seemingly ordinary rock formation, revealed only when Elian activated some mechanism hidden within the stone itself. Steps descended into darkness that flickered with strange phosphorescence as they proceeded deeper beneath the desert's surface. The air grew increasingly humid, stark contrast to the arid heat above, with moisture condensing along stone walls worn smooth by centuries of subterranean water flow. Teva led their procession, mechanical eyes providing superior navigation through the dimly lit passages. Lyrian followed, her water tattoos glowing with increasing brightness as they traveled deeper, responding to the strange energies permeating this ancient place. Kirshen and Elian maintained protective positions before and behind. For 3 days they traveled through the underground network, emerging occasionally through hidden exits to confirm their position against the stars, before descending once more into the ancient passages. The tunnels branched in confusing patterns, some partially collapsed from centuries of shifting sand above, others flooded with strange water that glowed with gentle luminescence in the perpetual darkness. On their final ascent toward surface level, Lyrian paused suddenly, water tattoos flaring with unexpected brilliance. Her expression shifted from serene to alarmed, body tensing as though encountering physical resistance in seemingly empty air.
We approach a boundary,
she warned, voice tight with effort as her tattoos pulsed against suddenly dense atmosphere.
The prison's outer perimeter extends beneath the sand.
Teva's mechanical eyes clicked rapidly through different perception modes, analyzing the apparently empty tunnel ahead.
Energy signatures indicate multi-layered defensive matrix,
he confirmed, artificial lenses focusing and refocusing with increasing urgency.
Pattern suggests dream state components interwoven with physical barriers. Most unusual configuration.
Thalia stepped forward, violet blue eyes searching the darkness ahead. Nothing visible marked the boundary Lyrian had sensed, yet something prickled against her awareness. She reached into her inner pocket, fingers closing around the dream crystal given by the nomad elder. The crystal pulsed with sudden warmth against her skin, cloudy interior momentarily clearing to reveal patterns matching the geometric designs described in her ancestor's journal.
I can open the way,
she stated with certainty born of blood memory rather than conscious knowledge.
The barrier recognizes specific resonance patterns. My ancestor helped create these defenses. Her blood flows in my veins.
She extended her hand, palm outward toward the invisible boundary. The dream crystal pulsed against her skin with increasing warmth, its energy flowing through her in a circuit that connected intention to action without conscious direction. Words formed on her lips, not modern language but something older, syllables that felt simultaneously foreign and familiar as they emerged. The barrier shimmered into momentary visibility, an iridescent wall stretching across the tunnel's width, with complex patterns flowing across its surface like living tapestry. Where her extended hand approached, the patterns shifted, restructuring themselves in response to her presence. A doorway formed within the shimmering barrier, edges pulsing with gentle invitation.
Remarkable,
he murmured, the silver streak in his hair catching the barrier's light with answering luminescence.
The prison recognizes you.
Their final approach to the precise coordinates indicated in Viola's journal brought them above ground once more, emerging into early morning light through an opening concealed beneath wind-carved stone arch. The location seemed entirely unremarkable, empty desert stretching in all directions, occasional rock formations breaking the landscape's otherwise featureless expanse.
This is it?
He turned in complete circle, battle trance marks darkening with confusion beneath his weathered skin.
There's nothing here but sand and more sand.
Tavor's mechanical eyes surveyed their surroundings with methodical precision.
Spatial coordinates match journal specifications exactly,
he confirmed, artificial lenses focusing on seemingly empty space between two unremarkable dunes.
Energy readings suggest unusual subsurface configuration, but visual confirmation remains negative.
Water flows beneath our feet,
she observed, water tattoos pulsing with gentle rhythm against her skin.
Ancient currents following patterns not naturally formed. Something massive lies beneath the surface.
Thalia stepped forward, violet blue eyes scanning the empty landscape with focused intensity. The dream crystal pulsed against her skin with growing warmth, directing her attention toward a particular section of desert that appeared identical to its surroundings. She moved with increasing certainty, her steps guided by instinct deeper than conscious thought. A glint of darkness caught morning sunlight, an obsidian surface partly exposed where recent winds had temporarily shifted the sand. She knelt beside the revealed fragment, brushing away loose grains with careful movements. More obsidian emerged beneath her touch, its polished surface reflecting distorted images of those gathered around her.
Help me clear this,
she requested, already working to remove more sand from the partially buried object. They worked together, clearing sand from what gradually revealed itself as a massive obsidian pillar rising from the hidden depths below. The column's surface had been carved with intricate symbols that matched notations in Viola's journal. The written language of the 9 sorceresses combined with mathematical formulations that bridged physical reality and dreamscape mechanics. On the pillar's western face, they uncovered 2 handprints etched into the obsidian surface, perfectly formed impressions that seemed to capture ambient light differently than the surrounding stone. One print appeared distinctly feminine, with slender fingers and delicate wrist. The other larger, more angular in its conformation.
What is this place?
His voice had quieted to uncharacteristic solemnity, battle trance marks pulsing with subtle rhythm beneath his skin.
The entrance?
She answered with certainty, born of blood memory rather than conscious knowledge.
The access point where physical reality intersects with the prison's actual location.
She turned toward Elian, violet blue eyes meeting his midnight gaze, with unspoken understanding passing between them. The silver streak in his hair caught morning sunlight, briefly glowing with unnatural brightness. They positioned themselves before the obsidian pillar, Thalia's right hand aligning with the feminine print, while Elian's matched the masculine impression. The dream crystal pulsed against her skin with sudden heat, energy flowing through her palm into the ancient stone. Beside her, the silver streak in Elian's hair brightened visibly, starlight momentarily visible beneath his skin as connection formed between his Dreamwalker heritage and the pillar's hidden mechanisms. The ground beneath them shuddered, gentle vibration that rapidly intensified into violent trembling. Sand began shifting around the obsidian pillar, flowing away from central point like water draining through some massive funnel. The pillar itself remained stable despite the sand's movement, anchored to something rising from below rather than descending into the newly formed gap.
Blood and bone.
He scrambled backward, dragging Tavor with him as destabilized sand continued flowing away from their position.
The whole desert's collapsing.
Not collapsing,
she corrected, water tattoos pulsing with excited rhythm against her skin.
revealing.
The sand's movement accelerated, exposing increasingly large sections of what lay beneath. Obsidian architecture emerged from its sandy concealment. Massive structures arranged in precise geometric pattern around the central courtyard where they stood. 9 enormous crystal formations gradually rose from beneath the desert floor, each pulsing with different colored light, as sand continued clearing from their surfaces.
Extraordinary engineering,
he observed, mechanical eyes struggling to process the impossible structure materializing before them.
Construction materials include components that technically should not exist in stable configuration.
The prison rose fully from its sandy concealment, 9 crystal structures arranged in a perfect non-argon that stretched nearly half-mile across at its widest points. Each structure contained different colored light: gold, crimson, azure, emerald, violet, shadow black, verdant green, silver white, and one that shifted between all colors and none. Between these massive formations, smaller crystal pillars created connection points, 27 total, arranged in precise pattern that formed intricate energy web, visible as faint luminescence connecting the larger structures. At the prison's center, where Thalia and Elian still maintained contact with the obsidian pillar, a circular platform of polished black stone had emerged from beneath the sand. Ancient symbols carved into its surface pulsed with gentle light that matched the rhythm of Thalia's heartbeat. She finally withdrew her hand from the obsidian pillar, violet blue eyes wide with wonder as she beheld the ancient prison in its fully manifested glory. The place she had seen only in wellspring visions and dreamscape fragments now stood physically before her, breathtaking in its elaborate construction and palpable power.
The 9 pillars?
He identified, midnight blue eyes tracking the massive crystal structures surrounding them.
And the connection points between them,
she added, indicating the smaller crystal formations positioned at precise intervals throughout the geometric arrangement.
the pinions that maintain the prison's integrity.
She moved toward center of the circular platform, journal clutched against her chest as though physical connection to her ancestors' writings might provide guidance for what came next. The dream crystal pulsed against her skin with steady rhythm, responding to energies permeating the ancient prison complex. The silver streak in Elian's hair continued glowing with subtle luminescence as he joined her at the platform's center. Around them, the massive prison structure hummed with quiet energy. Power contained rather than expressed, potential rather than kinetic.
Now what?
He asked, midnight blue eyes meeting her violet gaze with question that extended beyond immediate circumstances to encompass all choices that had led them to this moment.